Welcome to 10 and Tech. I'm your instructor Clark, and today we're going to learn how to make 2D section drawings with SketchUp, Layout, and the Super Section plugin.
Nice and slow.
As you finalize your timber frame design, you're probably going to need to create some 2D drawings, maybe to submit for engineering review or to get your permit. I'm going to show you my workflow for that, starting with a 3D SketchUp model like this one and ending up in SketchUp's companion program, Layout. So going back to the SketchUp model, you can see that I've already created a few scene tabs that we can use to browse around in the frame. But the one we're going to keep coming back to is this one that I call Bare Frame. It's got just kind of a bare bone style to it, and it's what I use when I'm creating the joinery on the frame, just because it's a faster way to model. You can see that all the joinery has been created on this model, and that's what we're going to expose when we make these 2D drawings. So I'm going to just start by making a section plane. You probably already know how to do this. And if I put it right up against the face of the bent that I want to look at, you can see that it'll cut away and expose the joinery inside. I'm going to call this section plane Bent 1. We'll use symbol 1. And there we go. So we've kind of got a start on what we're after, which is those 2D drawings. But because now we can see into this first bent and see the joinery that's going on. But obviously something's not quite right here. We're still in 3D and we want to be in 2D. So let me change to parallel projection. See, we're getting closer here, but I'm having trouble getting the camera lined up exactly right. All we have to do is click on the section plane itself and say Align View. And now I'm going to hide the section cut itself. View. Turn off section planes. And then finally we'll use camera and zoom extents to kind of center the picture. So this is kind of what we were after to import into Layout for our 2D drawing. The next step we'd want to do is to create a scene tab to make that easier. We'll create the scene. So let me just rename this scene tab. We'll call that Bent 1. And now that we've got it on its own scene, we can go back and forth between the full frame and the bent view, the section view that we just made. I want you to notice one other thing here, and that's that this shed dormer that's in the background, it's not on the bent that we're looking at, still appears in this section view. And we're going to deal with that in a little bit. I just wanted to point that out now. What I want to do is show you how to automate all the steps that we just did using the Super Section plugin. To install the Super Section plugin on your computer, just go to Extensions, Extension Warehouse, search for Super Section, click on that, and then just hit the Install button to install it to your copy of SketchUp. Now I want you to notice that if you had a previous version of the Super Section plugin installed, you will need to restart the SketchUp application before it'll take effect. So what I'm going to do now is go back to the model that I started with. Revert back. And this time we're going to use the Super Section plugin to automate a lot of the steps that I just showed you manually. So I'm going to put a section plane on. We'll call it Bent 1. And this time I'm just going to right click on the section plane and say Super Section. Now look what it did. It created the section cut. It aligned the view. It took us into the 2D camera, and it centered the model right on the screen, just like all those manual steps that we did before we used the plugin. It did a few other things for us. It created the scene tab. It created a new style here called the Super Section style that you can use to make this look just how you want it for your sections. Maybe you want thinner lines, maybe you want a different color inside the timbers. You can change all those things. And that style will be used across any section cuts that you made. It also made a new tag for this bent, and this tag will be active only on this scene tab. It won't be on any of the tabs that you've already created, and none of the scene tabs that you're going to create in the future. Now remember what I told you earlier about that shed dormer that was back behind the section cut that we made? That's still there, but the Super Section plugin added this scrim, this big white sheet, to kind of obscure what's going on behind the section cut. Now that scrim has got two sides, and if you flip it around, we can make it translucent. It's opaque on one side and translucent on the other. So it can kind of shade what's going on in the background there. So you can still see it, but you know that it's not supposed to be part of this section. That scrim is something that you can just click on and delete if you don't like it. Or you can flip it around. If you've got the Rotate 90 plugin installed, it's just a matter of hitting it twice to toggle back and forth between the opaque mode and the translucent mode. Also, that scrim has its own color, and you can edit. That's called the Super Section Scrim color. And if you want to edit that color, you can even change the opacity of the stuff that's behind the scrim. So now we have the section for bent 1. Let's go back to the bare frame view, and then we can add section cuts for the rest of the bents. Here's bent 2. Make the super section. Back to bare frame. Another section cut for bent 3. Make the super section. Back to bare frame. Another cut for bent 4. Make the super section. And back to bare frame. Let's do a couple wall sections too. Here's wall A. And wall C. Let's just go back to the bare frame view and save this, and we're ready to take it into layout. So if I just bring up layout here and say File New, I'll pick a template that I've already got set up, and we're going to insert this model. Now I'm just going to line it up with the rectangle that's already set on my template, and there's that first bare frame view. Now to bring in the other sections, all I need to do is duplicate this, and I'm going to call this page bent 1, and then just change the scene to be bent 1. And I'll keep doing that for the rest of my scenes here. I'll just do these couple. Well, let's add the wall. There you can see we've got our 3D view and then some 2D sections, and these are all ready for us to dimension and annotate. I'm not going to give you a full lesson on how to use layout for dimensioning, but I can just do a few things for you here just to kind of show you what I have in mind. We can maybe take the height of this wall, maybe the height of the whole frame. Maybe I don't have quite enough room here to put in everything that I want, so I'll just shift them all around a little bit. So now that I've got room to put these dimensions. And maybe make some notes like this is 12-12 pitch, and that this is a 10 by 10 timber. Anything that you want to convey to your intended audience, the engineer or the permitting folks. And hopefully when it's all done, you'll have something that looks nice that you're proud of, maybe something that looks like this. Anyway, that's all we have for today from Ten and Tech. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we'll see you next time. Take care.